Hey, welcome back. It is a Thirsty Thursday edition of Liquid Lunch on Newsmax TV. I'm John Tobacco. We're coming here from the Question Tequila Studios.
Okay, great.
And we are kicking off hour two today with a blockbuster. The Dow Jones Industrial Average is picking up some of its losses from this morning. It was down almost 100, now down just about 20. Cisco was weighing on the Dow earlier today. Walmart beat, so there's kind of an offset there. And we continue to keep our eye on those China tariff talks. And we're the only show on television that talks about Bitcoin and cryptocurrency and blockchain and all the innovations around that every single day, Monday to Friday, noon to 2 Eastern, live. And to kick off hour two, in the leadoff spot, one of the monsters of Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, legendary American venture capitalist, Tim Draper joins us today to talk about the state of affairs of Bitcoin, cryptocurrency, and capitalism. Tim is the founder of Draper Fisher Jurvetson, the Draper University, the Draper Venture Network, and also on the side, when he has a little extra time, he's on Meet the Drapers, which is a fun little project that we'll talk to him about a little later. Tim Draper, thank you for joining us. Really appreciate you giving us a few minutes.
Terrific. Well, great to be here. Again, thanks so much for having me back on. That doesn't happen very often. They don't always want me back.
Well, yeah, we're so bad over here that we always feel like people deserve redemption a few times. But it's always an honor and a pleasure to have you on. You're a legendary guy in so many places. I think that Bitcoin and cryptocurrency is the future of the global economy and the payment system for cross-border and other things. You've predicted that Bitcoin is going to go to 250,000, but I want to dial it back, Tim. What made you, as you're a venture capitalist, you're so entrenched in the institutional establishment of finance and capitalism, what made you believe that this was a transformative technology and system?
Well, I was there during the internet boom, and I knew that there was something interesting happening there, and it was going to transform a lot of industries, and it did. It transformed communications and information and media and gaming and entertainment. A whole bunch of industries got changed, and those industries were all in the sort of 10 to $100 billion range. Well, this technology, Bitcoin, the blockchain, smart contracts, and you combine it with artificial intelligence, it starts to transform, it starts to make all of these major trillion-dollar industries look like they can be automated. So that's banking and insurance and commerce and finance and healthcare. Healthcare, because of the artificial intelligence, can actually, and all that data, we can do a better job of diagnosing people, and government itself, because if insurance can be transformed, most of what government does is insurance programs. So I started to think, wow, this, first I was looking for a cryptocurrency of some sort. I was looking for a virtual currency since 2004, when I ran into this guy in Korea, from Korea, who said that half of the Korean population was on this massively multiplayer game, and that he even paid somebody to be his avatar while he was at work. So I knew there was something really important going on where people were living in two layers. One, just the physical world, and one is the virtual world. And I knew the virtual world would bring in things like real estate and currency and a whole vast array of other industries that could be virtualized. So I was very interested when Bitcoin finally came to fruition, and it was very exciting. And so I put money behind a Bitcoin company, and I bought some Bitcoin, which I then lost in the Mt. Gox scandal. And I thought that Mt. Gox was the biggest trader of Bitcoin anywhere. I thought that was the end of it, but no. there were so many uses for Bitcoin. Bitcoin's price only dropped about 15% on that news. So I thought, wow, people really need this. And then, so I did a lot of research and I realized that the decentralization of everything was coming.
Hey Tim,
And
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I want to ask you this. I think it's important. You made a great point that there are so many multi-trillion-dollar industries that can be disrupted by blockchain. I was told one time by the commissioner of insurance in New Jersey that insurance companies want to insure hot iron underwater. So most of what the insurance company's behaviors are to me is rent seeking. And I think it's brilliant for you to focus in there. But we see here in the US, right up to Donald Trump, he's coming out on social media and say he doesn't like Bitcoin, he doesn't like cryptocurrency. We've seen other senators and so forth say they want to do investigations and all this other crap. Do you think the bank lobby is working day and night to squelch Bitcoin here in the US?
absolutely. I mean, think about this. You're in the business of taking 2.5 to 4% every time somebody swipes a credit card. You are going to be very upset when somebody comes up with a currency that can be frictionless. And you're going to say, oh my gosh, I don't get your 2.5 to 4% every time you swipe a credit card anymore. Are you kidding? I'm going to fight this to the death.
So guys
And
like
and
you,
they are doing that. You
no
know
doubt.
it.
People don't realize it. You know, regular Joe's sitting at home trying to learn about Bitcoin. They do not realize the civil war that's going on behind the scenes between the innovators and early adopters and the behemoth banking lobby. Me and you know about that, but most people don't realize that the banks are getting crushed right now because Trump's putting pressure on the Fed to lower rates, so that's cutting their spreads. And now if Bitcoin can remove rent seekers, right? We have all these middlemen that we pay basically to create trust. And Bitcoin allows you to transact in a peer-to-peer in a trustless society. So this, you know this, but for our audience at home, disruptive theory is when you can reduce the costs of something by 80% or better. And the banks, as Tim Draper eloquently put it, are ripping us off for 3 to 4% as rent seekers for creating trust that is no longer needed. And the fractionality of what the costs are well above 80%. And I think, Tim, that's why they're fighting this thing like a holy war.
Yeah, there is, I mean, once you start to really understand Bitcoin, you realize that we do not need the banks anymore.
Exactly.
And you see that and you go, oh my gosh, no wonder these guys are lobbying Washington and trying to get them to shake up. Well, the other thing is that their governance itself is going to go through a major transformation. Whereas the banks, I think, are going to be obliterated. But I think governance is going to go through a major change because governments are going to have to be more, they're going to have to think of their constituents as customers now, because the borders are dissolving as they try to claim that we have all these tensions around the world between borders. I don't see any of those tensions. I'm in business all over the world. The tensions are created by these individual leaders
Rent seekers
who are benefiting from the tension. So,
exactly.
You know, if there's a trade war or there's a skirmish or there's a whatever, they want to blow that up. The press loves it because it, you know,
Yeah.
they sell fear. But
hey, Tim, I was vice president of technology for a company called T0. We're a subsidiary of Overstock.com under the leadership of Dr. Patrick Byrne. Overstock became one of the first companies in America, major e-commerce companies, to accept Bitcoin. We were kind of at the disruptive front edge. I'm still a shareholder, I want to remind my viewers. But T0 is applying Bitcoin, blockchain at least, to land governance, land titling, which will again hurt you know, banks and title companies. They're also applying it to voting and capital markets. You said governance. You're talking about government, where now every move is going to be recorded empirically till the end of time on the blockchain, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, government, a lot of what they do is insurance. And if you have a pretty good actuary and a smart contract and Bitcoin, you can create an insurance company right there. And it doesn't require a lot of extra people because the artificial intelligence can determine whether a claim is good or not.
That's it.
And the smart contract can build in when the payments come in and when they go out and all that. But what government is, think of what government is. It's got healthcare insurance, it's got workman's comp insurance, it's got Social Security, which is insurance, it's got pensions, which are insurance. A lot of what government does is insure.
That's right.
If that part can be done virtually with Bitcoin, the blockchain, smart contracts, and artificial intelligence,
fantastic.
That means that governments can now provide services across border to people outside of their geographic territories. And we, citizens of the world, can pick and choose which government we want to provide those services.
Fantastic.
So at least at the virtual level, governance is now open for business.
In the
it's
hands
now
of the people.
an open, competitive environment.
Hey, Tim, I want to thank you so much for joining us. You're welcome on Liquid Lunch anytime. We love getting your insights and your expertise. It's some of the best commentary we have on Bitcoin. And one of these days when you're in New York, maybe you come down to the studio and have an actual Liquid Lunch with us.
Oh, sounds great.
All
Is
right.
there? Can it be a little more solid? I mean, I want liquidity.
Yeah,
but,
well, we love
liquidity. I kind of want a solid lunch.
We'll give you plenty of liquidity and plenty of solids also. And thanks for doing us a solid and joining us today. That's Tim Draper, one of the top venture capitalists in the world. He thinks Bitcoin is going to 250,000, not million, thousand. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back right after this. We're going to mix it up with Jaden Horn and Robin Biro for my favorite part of the show. Take a quick break. Right back at you after.